All right. Welcome back, the Powder Room. It's been a while. We had to figure some things out. We're in a new city, Dallas, Texas. This will be our first episode of 8 episodes. The theme of this season is the Powder Room with powerful women. And who not better than to have the most powerful woman I know in my life? My mom. Mom, don't cry because I know you want to cry already. Listen, me and my mom are both the biggest crybabies you could ever come across. We just feel, things very deeply, very much alike in many different ways. Huh, Mom?
It's very true. Very true.
Well, we kind of pushed back the time a little bit, so we're going to get right into it because we can't take up Chance's time too much. First of all, this episode of The Powder Room is brought to you by For All Studios. What an amazing studio that it is. It is located in Fort Worth, Texas, at a YMCA. Just look at this, though. Like, how crazy to have a studio like this that's available for our youth, but also for people, for all, is as in the name. But we just really want to shout them out because it's amazing. And if you do want to start a podcast, they have everything you need. If you need a videographer, engineer, it's all here for you. So definitely check in with that. And we'll be able to, we're going to put out some video so you guys can see the full effect. But anyways, just want to shout them out really quick. So we're going to get right into it. For those of you who don't know, this is my mama.
Hey.
Yes. And many people who don't know, we're going to get into a little bit of the adoption part, and then we're going to get into, we're not going to stay on that, but we're just going to start with that so that they kind of can get a full idea of kind of who you are and why you are the way that you are.
Okay.
So I just want to, first I want to ask though, if you could think back to your childhood, what is the first memory you think of when you were a child? Take me to that time. The first memory that just pops into your head as a child.
San Diego.
Okay.
About 5 years old, running with the chickens and stealing the strawberries off the strawberry plants that were growing out in front of the house.
Chickens is crazy.
Chickens and horses.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So a country girl at heart.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So Texas really where you're supposed to be.
I feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about the conversation with your parents and how that went when finding. And first of all, how old were you when you had that conversation about being adopted?
Wasn't really a big conversation. I was really pretty young. I was around 6 years old. They came to me and were like, "We have something to tell you." And I said, "Okay." And we want you to know you're adopted. And we adopted you because we just had a feeling that you were very special. We wanted a little girl. They had 4 brothers that they were able to have biologically. And my mom wanted a little girl. Her dream was pink dresses and ruffles. She didn't get that.
We'll get into that too. I'm glad you said that. But do you feel like at 6 years old you could really comprehend like understand being adopted? Did you really comprehend that as
That's
a 6-year-old?
Great question, B. No, I didn't comprehend it. I just knew, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right," and moved on. But thinking down the line, I feel that if they wouldn't have put that out there and waited till I was older, I feel that there might be some resentment towards them. Mm-hmm. At this point, I feel that they freed themselves of that.
Yeah.
Making that decision as a parent to decide when is the best time to give that information, I think would be a very hard decision. I think that they did the right thing, knowing me. Mm-hmm. Because I think that if something would have been kept from me and then told at a later date, it would have been harder for my parents, from me.
I can understand that. I guess, though, from that point on, did it make you have a different outlook on life? Like, did it make you feel like, I feel like maybe from knowing that, you put more emphasis on like, I'm different. Like, you know what I mean? It maybe made you think like, did you think that you were different?
Not till I got older.
Okay.
So when I got older, my personality,
Yeah.
like, I was totally different
Yeah.
than them. Even though our upbringing was the same, like, I didn't ever realize, honestly, I didn't realize you are the blood that runs through you.
Yeah.
Regardless of your upbringing.
You're always going to feel back into your roots.
Without knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I was always different. I was just very strong-minded, always. And so, like I said, I just didn't understand that the blood that runs through you has so much effect on you personally.
Yeah.
Whether you know where you come from or not.
Right. So you feeling like you were different, you just didn't really realize like, I feel different because that's what's in me.
Because that's my
that's
biological
who I am.
line.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like your outlook on life changed, or what age do you feel like your outlook on life changed? And if you, knowing that you were adopted, made that change?
In what manner changed?
I guess just like you said, how you were, your characteristics,
Yeah, okay.
like
so,
how you were, like,
being raised the way I was raised, being raised Mormon. Let's just go there.
Yeah.
You want to touch base on
Yeah.
that? So, being raised Mormon in the Christianity, like I said, it was a very good upbringing, but I just felt like, they teach that you only are able to be friends, or like you want to keep those people around you because you won't be able to stay on the right path. Okay? And when I'm at that age in my teenage years, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Like you had to have only Mormon friends, or else your outlook on life or what you did in life wasn't going to align with being Mormon.
Yeah, and being able to stay on, like on my Christian line, like staying focused.
Well, let's make sure though, Mormon and Christianity are two different things, right?
No, they're Christians.
Really? You think so?
Yes, ma'am, but we're not going to touch into that.
Okay.
So I always call myself a Christian. So we're not going to go there. We're not going there, okay?
All right.
I believe in Jesus Christ.
No, absolutely. But I don't think that you're Mormon right now. I don't think that you're... Okay.
We ain't touched that
Okay,
yet.
let's just
no,
keep
I do
going.
not follow the Mormon religion.
Okay.
I left that at 18
Okay.
once I could make my own choices.
Yes.
So I do follow non-denominational, and I am a Christian. So there we go.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to clear up that you do not think that a Christian is a Mormon. I just want to clear that up.
No,
Because Mormon is completely different.
like I said, we're not going to touch
Okay.
that base,
All
so
right.
you can't
All right.
say that because you haven't done any research
okay.
on that.
All right.
So
all
let's
right.
go
Okay.
leave it alone.
Keep going.
So, anywho.
This is what we do. Okay? This is a glimpse of us, all right? We was just bickering last night. You know what I'm saying? And I had the girl okay. And then we left it at that. Anyways, keep going.
So, anywho, like I said, in high school, I realized, like, hey, like, I can be friends with anybody.
Yeah.
And basically, I set out to be friends with anybody. And that was any race, that was any creed, that was anything. And I just started being friends with everyone. And
now, I'm sorry. You're going to know, Mom. Because when I have a thought in my head, I'm like, hold up.
okay.
So you said that you decided to make your decision at 18, but I feel like you wanted to befriend everybody before 18.
So I did.
Okay.
But I had to follow my household's guidelines.
Okay.
So you respect your parents.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and you go with that. You go with what they choose.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to touch on that.
Okay.
But
keep going.
but
So your
anyhow,
outlook on life
So
changed.
my outlook on life changed, and I just felt like, and I would say, how do you call yourself Christian if you don't love everyone? Like, that was my thing. Like, you got to love everybody, whoever they are, whoever they identify as, whatever. So you got to love everybody. And yes, it's hard sometimes, you know, because you're brought up, and, you know, in my day and age, it's just kind of...
That's all you knew.
It's all you know.
Yeah.
So, other than that, that's kind of when I started changing my outlook on things.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where you want me to go right now.
No, that's good. I mean, so which kind of every question I ask leads us to the next question, which is kind of crazy, but it's dope. So you're talking about, you befriend everybody, any race, and so now we're gonna talk about, because I'm talking about when you first had. My next question is going to be, take me to the first memory you had once you found out you were pregnant. So you were pregnant with your first son from a black man.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into that.
Okay.
Right? Because you're like, man, I can befriend anybody. So take me to time, that memory when you first found out you were pregnant. Before telling your parents, before anything, when you first just found out you were pregnant.
I was scared.
Yeah.
I was 21.
Yeah.
I was nervous. With his dad, I was very nervous.
Yeah. Were you nervous? Did the thought of telling your parents make you nervous?
No.
No?
I wasn't scared of mom and dad.
Yeah, you didn't give a damn. Like
I was more taken back by his reaction.
His dad. And what was his reaction? It's okay, take a breath.
He didn't want me to have him.
Yeah.
So
were y'all together? Like, was it a relationship, or were you guys just messing around? Like, was it just?
I mean, that was my boyfriend.
Okay.
In
your eyes?
To my eyes.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe not in his.
To what I believe was
a boyfriend,
my
girlfriend.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it got a little, like, he even got a little physical with me.
Before or once he found out that you were pregnant?
I told him.
Okay.
And he wanted me to have an abortion. He didn't want me to have him. Me being adopted, I don't believe in abortion.
Okay.
And that was just never an option.
Yeah.
It takes two people to make that choice, or to tango, and I'll do it by myself.
Yeah.
I don't need you, pretty much. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not.
So do you feel like my brother's dad wasn't there because he didn't want him all along?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he had this dream of playing pro ball. And his full is like 21.
I'm about to say, at 5'4" is crazy. Pro ball at 5'4", whatever.
But him being at PC playing football, which is Phoenix College, community college, right?
Yeah.
But he's going to go pro, but whatever.
Right.
And that's how I thought about it. Like, you want to go pro, boy? Like, go. And
ain't nobody trying to trap you.
No.
Do your thing. Okay, anyway.
So anyway, that just wasn't an option. It got very ugly between him and I.
Yeah.
And it went on for a few years, even ugly, because he didn't want to be apart. And I tried to make a part, and then.
So tell me about when you told Grandma and Grandpa that you were pregnant.
I told Mom first.
Yeah.
I told Mom, and she's like, "Let me tell your dad." I said, "I can tell him." Mm-hmm. And it was actually at family pictures when I told.
Okay.
I found out that day.
What a great time to tell, Mom.
We were at Olin Mills Studio. Having professional pictures done with all the family, right? And
I'm telling you, man, like, people gotta understand, like, I am a product of you. Like,
yeah, I know.
Listen, if I got something to say, I'm gonna say it. I don't know, but anyways, keep going.
So she told my dad. She told Grandpa. She told your dad, Grandpa, and I mean, he didn't have a lot to say.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's funny because I'm going to reflect on this real quick, because where we're at right now in life, where we're going in this world right now. I remember some distinct words from your grandmother, and she said, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" She said, "Jackie, because it states in the Bible, like, it's going to get very hard in this world towards the end of the days, and your kids are going to have a rough time. They're going to have to identify as well." And I said, "No, they're not." I said, "Mom, by the time they're grown, everybody's going to be mixed, and everybody's going to have something in them." I said, regardless, it's going to be all different type of nationalities going on, and this whole world's going to be mixed, and I'm going to raise them to be strong enough to handle everything they got. and what they come to
And did.
and what they go through.
And did.
And that's just something that's been very strong and maybe sometimes I pushed too hard for you guys to be independent, but there was reasons behind it. And that's something that I tell you guys all the time. Like, there's reasons why I do the things that I've done. Even though you may not understand it now, I promise you one day you will understand.
Yeah, you know, I think I think a lot of moms though, so not just you, but I think a lot of moms do push their girls to be very independent. You know, and I guess for you to, I would say that for me, I can only speak for me. I can't speak for my other siblings, but I think for me, it wasn't really too much push for me. It was more so like, I feel like I was given a lot of responsibility early on.
You were?
But I was okay with the response. Like that, I liked that. Like I was okay. Like I wanted to run everything.
You're
I
like
wanted
me.
to be in charge. I wanted to, you know what I'm saying?
And I knew you could handle it.
But I think that now that I'm older, sometimes I wish I could have just been. Sometimes I wish I could have just been a sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because and now, you know, me and my sister's siblings, you know, our relationship's getting better. But it was rough for a long time.
It was rough.
You know,
we went through some hard times. We really, really
trying
did.
to stop myself from being mom and just being sister. You know what I mean? I think it was rough with them. I think it was rough with us.
Yeah.
You know, because being mom, it was kind of like, well, mom, like, who are you talking? Like, you know, when it shouldn't have been like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think because I was put in that role to be mom, it was like, well, you can't tell me shit.
It was. We went through those times.
You know what I mean? It was like, girl, you a friend. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that it was right. I'm just saying that, like, now that I'm able to sit back and think about, like, maybe why did you act, or why did you, you know, it was kind of like, well, damn, like, you know. And then too, I think that that's just my personality too. You know, where it's just like, well, who the fuck do you think? Anybody, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, but there's more questions we need to get into. But like I said, this is kind of how it goes. You know, I have these questions, but then I knew that, like, when we start talking, it's just like other stuff will come up.
So that was part two.
But you know, I think that's a big understanding that, you know, I would want everyone to understand is that, like, you know, being put in that situation to be that, it's hard to not be that, if that makes sense. You know, and then to just really, really respect you as my mom and not my friend. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which has taken me time, and I still have my moments, but I catch myself.
You're doing much better.
You know, I catch
than
myself.
You were.
I catch myself, like, you know, my bad, mom. Like, you know, and then just getting a full understanding. Like, being a mom is like, that's funny. I was having a conversation with a dude, and he was like, how many kids do you want? And I'm like, shit, you'd be lucky to get a kid out of me. Like, and he's like, why? And I'm like, I just seen, like, multiple. How do you give love to? Say, how do I give love to each kid? Like, how do I be there for each kid? And he's like, well, first of all, girl, it's supposed to be a team thing. It's not just supposed to be on you. And I had to think back, and I had to just be like, damn. Like, I've been scared to have kids because I've only seen you take care of everything and not be able to give everything to all of us. And then kind of like not be able to give yourself. anything. And I don't want that.
I don't want that for you either.
And so I think that that's like the biggest thing for me is like, I tell people all the time, like when they ask her, like, when do I want kids or how many, I'm like, I want a partner first. So you asking me how many kids, we could talk about that after I figure out who you are. I want to be able to be married and enjoy my husband and have a year with him. And then we can think about kids.
Absolutely.
You know? And so it's just crazy that I had that realization, like, and he had to make me have that realization, like, you don't want kids because that's all you saw. And you didn't want, you know what I'm saying? He's like, but it's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to both be able to give and do and you know what I'm saying? So anyways, we're going to move on to the next question because we can sit on these things for forever. We definitely might need a part 2 because this ain't going to be enough. So finding out you're pregnant, your parents were like, you know, just make sure it's the right thing that you want to do, whatever. Then you had my brother. Shout out Darius.
Shout out Darius. That was my baby.
Yeah, that was your first baby. So take me to the time where you found out you were now pregnant with your second child. And it was a girl. Right? I think that's my dream always, to have my boy first and my girl. But anyways, keep going.
I mean, that was my ultimate
Dream.
ultimate dream.
Yeah. First of all, I'm sorry. Let's go back really quick, though. So you would say that your first pregnancy, you weren't really able to enjoy.
Oh, no.
You didn't enjoy being pregnant. Which sucks.
It was so much stress. It was miserable.
Yeah.
There was so much anger. There was so much and then he got another woman pregnant when I was 7 months pregnant.
Just imagine. You know what I mean? All that emotion. And then your second pregnancy and still
I didn't even know. And I didn't even know till after I had Darius.
That Darius was about to have a sister that was the same age, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So now go into your second.
So anyway, I mean, you know the story.
Your second
Most people
child.
don't. So after Darius, then I met your dad. When Darius was 3 months old. And then I found out I was pregnant with you. Your dad freaked out.
But he wanted me.
He left me. He wanted to break. He was like, I can't do this. He didn't tell me not to have you. He was like, I can't do this. I'm not ready. And I'm like, well, you got to call your mom. I said, because you're not getting out of this. So he called your grandma. And she was like, Eric, I don't know what you're thinking. You don't want to be like your dad. You are going to have a beautiful baby girl. You better get your life together. He thought about it. This was right after his brother passed. And then he was like, let's go. We moved to Washington after that to be there. And then I found out I did not know exactly that I was having a girl. And then I found out I was having a girl, and I'm like, wonderful. I'm having a girl now. I got a girl and a boy. I ain't got to have no more. And then, you know, I mean, I was kind of freaked out because you guys were going to be 22 months apart.
Yeah.
I mean, Darius was barely over a year old.
Man, he was bad as hell.
Bad. Bad. And ain't nothing changed.
Okay, so finding out you had a girl, was it a different feeling than having your boy? Like, you know?
I mean, no, it's just, I got my girl and my boy. Like, I was just, you know, and never, you know, like back then I wasn't, like, feminine. So.
We're going to touch on that, don't worry.
So I wasn't feminine, so I'm like, hey, I get a girl. Ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
She's going to be like me. Like, we're going to be riding quads. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing that. You know, that's my thought. Not, ooh, I'm going to put her in bows and, no.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be like that. Yeah.
So then having me.
You were a crybaby. Good Lord.
Rightfully so.
No, we went through a lot. So we were crybabies together, but.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. I mean, we went through a lot between me, you, and Darius. It was very heavy, extremely heavy.
So you had me, and then
5 days after, you were born. Your dad played on the basketball city leagues, and he wanted me to go to the game, and it was winter in Washington. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea to take her out. And he said, you're right. He said, I was like, do you have to go? So let me back up a little bit, though. When I was going to have you, the day I was going to have you, he had a game that day. And I was like, go ahead and go. He's like, no, I'm not going nowhere. And it was a good thing that he didn't go to that game that day because I went into labor that night, evening. And it was a rough labor. Like, my heart rate dropped. I thought I was dying, like, when I was
So I've been giving you trouble. Baby, the most special ones be the hardest ones, okay?
So then, anyway, you know, we brought you home, and 2 days later, he had a game, and the game was at 7 or 6 something, I don't know, but it was like 9:30, and I hadn't heard from him, and I called your mom and said, "Ma, did Eric stop by there?" Like, he still hasn't came home. You know, we don't have cell phones back now. Back then, we didn't have cell phones like we do now. She's like, "No, I ain't heard nothing." And 5 minutes later, the phone rang. And they were like, Jackie, there's been an accident. And I'm like, what? She's like, you need to get to the hospital. You need to get to Richland Memorial. And I said, or Kennewick, whichever one it was. Kennewick, I think.
Yeah, I saw her at Mosborn.
It was Kennewick. And I said, what's happened? You just need to get here. Well, your dad was already gone by that time, and they couldn't tell me.
Over the phone.
And I called grandmother. They couldn't tell me. They just weren't going to.
Yeah.
And I called your grandmother, and I was like, Ma, you got to meet me at the hospital. There's been an accident. She's like, what's wrong? I said, I have no idea. They haven't told me.
Yeah.
And we got there, and your dad was gone. Ultimately, probably one of the worst experiences to go through.
Yeah.
And toughest.
Yeah.
Because he was such a special person, honestly. You know, like, he had the most genuine kindness heart. And he worked with adult handicapped. And he loved his work. He loved what he did.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he just, I don't know. Like I said, I told you I knew him when I met him. Like, that was my soulmate, for real. Like, he just was so loving, caring, respectful, like, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our things, but it wasn't nothing, like, crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Really good dude, really good brother, really good son.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was a rough time.
Yeah.
And then Grandpa, I was like, come get me.
Yeah.
Like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
And
Just couldn't still be in that area where, you know, it's all you could think about.
there was nothing there to do. There was nothing. I worked at Walmart. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
So,
hey, don't downplay. Hey, if you work at Walmart, great, good.
no, I
you
don't
got
mean
a job.
downplaying it like that. What I'm saying was,
You got a job, baby. There's a lot of motherfuckers out here ain't got no job. Okay.
I'm just saying where we're at.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It just was
I
like
get
a
what you're
little
saying.
small town.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for me. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
let me go. It's time for me to go.
Bigger dreams, bigger city. You know, it's crazy that you still can tear up in that situation because I think back to Boogie.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that like those losses are like just things that just I don't think you ever get over. I think you move forward. But, you know, it's just, I think God just works in crazy ways. Like, for Boogie to pass away the same way my dad passed away, like both their hearts stopping. You know what I'm saying? And for me to be the same age that you were when it happened, it's just like, you know what I mean?
And when I found out, like, my heart just broke for you. Because it's just, the feelings are just unexplainable, and it's unexplainable to have to go through that at 21 or 22 years old. To lose someone that you love so much is just truly unexplainable to go through all of that, to be honest.
You know, but I find it one of my biggest lessons, but my biggest blessing. Because losing Boogie brought me so much closer to God. Like,
See, and I was mad.
Yeah.
Like, I hated
Yeah.
God. I was so upset, and I've had to apologize to him, but I was so mad that he took him from me
Yeah. Yeah.
because he loved you and Darius so much.
Yeah.
And I was so mad, and I was broken all the way. Like, I mean, broke. I went into survival mode.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy to me that you didn't get to enjoy either of your two first. I don't even know if you've ever got to enjoy a pregnancy, which is crazy. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest. I hate being pregnant, so it doesn't really matter. Like, I couldn't wait till I was like, just hurry up and give me my baby. Let me see what they look like. Like, I do not like being pregnant. That stuff is not fun to me. I just want to see what I created. That's all.
Right.
That was it.
How many kids did you plan on having?
Not 5. So, I remember I used to tell your grandmother, why would you want 5 kids? She said, I love all of you. And I like us, I had my boys. I got you. Like, I said, y'all are crazy. I remember when I would get mad at them. I'm never going to have 5 kids like you. That's the craziest thing ever. She's like, okay, whatever you choose.
End up having 5 kids.
And I ended up having 5 kids.
Crazy.
And I almost had 6 if I wouldn't have had that.
Right.
If I wouldn't have had
the miscarriage
before Jazz.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And I probably would have had more if I wouldn't have handled it myself after Jason.
Girl. Oh my God. I cannot imagine
Could
any
you
more
imagine?
of us.
And I was like, man.
I cannot imagine any more
I was
of
like,
us.
that is it.
Girl.
I am done. If you're not going to fix it, I am.
Girl. Do you feel like your heartbreaks helped you, hurt you, or kept you the same when it came to personal growth?
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I'm sure you can see. The things that I've gone through have helped me grow tremendously. They've helped me. It's taken some time. There's you know what I've been through, and it's that last one took me some time, and I had to, through counseling, through self-perseverance, through self-reflection, through going through my own things, and it's weird because triggers are real too.
Yeah.
I mean, triggers are so real. Something could be so old, 10, 14, you do one thing and it's just like boom.
Girl.
And I mean,
Yeah.
the triggers are just insane, and it's rough.
Yeah.
It's sometimes really rough, but I definitely know that I have grown a lot.
Yeah.
I definitely have came to a place now where I am at in life, especially over the last couple years.
Yeah.
Especially last year with Jason being my last one and being an empty nester, which is kind of another transition for me. And being an empty nester is kind of very hard to adjust to, but because I've always had y'all.
Yeah.
But my growth to me has grown in so much in a way where I'm able to just walk away from things now.
Yeah.
Where I don't allow, there's a lot of things that still irk me, don't get me wrong. Or you guys can trigger me still. You definitely still can trigger me. You know that. But we work through it better now. Don't roll your eyes at me. But and it's not just you.
No, I know.
But it's just saying, like, there's things that can still bring back that memory, but I'm doing so much better at being able to say, this is not my problem. This is not for me.
Yeah, I can say that.
This is something you got to work out on your own. Like, it's not, I got my own things to deal with. Like, I've got my own life to live, and I can say that I definitely reflect with God a lot more. And I pray so much more, and I try to really instill that. One thing that I wish I would have done more, I honestly wish that I had listened to my parents, and where you go with someone that you choose someone, because you have the choice to choose. Choose someone that believes the way you believe. have the same sort of the same background upbringing, where, and I'm talking like in God,
Yeah.
and believing in going to church,
Yeah.
and staying in church, and believing that that's so important for your children.
Yeah.
And I knew that, but I didn't really understand. I didn't really take heed to that because I was in survival mode.
You just needed somebody.
I just wanted something for my kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe that every marriage needs that solid foundation.
Yeah.
And they need to put God first, like seriously.
Yeah.
Because it's so important
Yeah.
to have that foundation.
Absolutely.
And to bring your children up in that. I wish and regret that I did not keep you kids in church.
Yeah.
And that I did not make sure all of you chose. I wanted you guys to choose when you wanted to get baptized, because I don't feel like it should not be my decision.
Yeah.
I feel it should be your decision.
Yeah. And to get an understanding of it.
To understand the word, to understand why you're getting baptized. So that's one regret that's probably the biggest regret I do have.
Yeah, I got baptized when I was ready. When I felt like I needed him the most. When I felt like I was ready to really have understood what having a relationship with him was. And so I totally agree with that. I think that people should get baptized when they're ready.
Yeah.
But just knowing God is major, though, and I can understand that. So if you could look back and tell your past self one thing, would that be it, or you would tell her something else?
It would be that I wish I would have listened more and followed more what my father said to me.
Yeah.
And definitely keeping God first, and having someone that I am my partner, that we are on the same page. Like, I think it's so important to be on the same page in how you are raising and how you're doing things.
So taking out partners, taking out marriage, what is one thing you would tell yourself? What is one thing you would tell yourself? Taking out kids, taking out all of that. Just Jackie as a woman.
Keeping God first.
Yeah.
Keeping God first, because I definitely fell apart and lost that.
Yeah.
So definitely keeping God first for my path.
So do you feel like a lot of women want to be a wife, but don't understand what being a wife entitles? And what is being a wife to you?
I think there is a lot of females that think they want to be a wife, but I don't think that they truly understand what it takes to be a wife. And it's not as easy as people think it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sacrifice when it comes to being a wife.
A lot of compromise, I'm sure.
A lot of wife and mom. Yeah, and if you don't got somebody that's going to, you don't got compromise.
Yeah.
You don't got anything.
Yeah.
And, for me, being a wife is you handling, well, in my case, I was working, running a business. I was raising kids and taking care of a husband. I fed that husband. I packed his lunches. I checked on him consistently. Are you good? Do you need anything?
Did you take pride in being a wife at first?
I think I took pride in being a wife always,
Yeah.
even when I didn't like him.
Yeah.
Or when I got to that point of not liking what was going on.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
I'll say I didn't like him anyway. It was only part of it, though. It wasn't. It just came where it just started to get a little aggressive.
Yeah.
And I even when I didn't like what was going on
Yeah.
in my household, I still took care of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still cooked him dinner. I still made sure he ate. I still, served him his plate.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been that person.
Yeah.
I'm and anyone can attest to this.
Yeah.
I make plates. I serve plates. I even look out for other people's husbands,
Yeah.
friends' husbands. Like, you good? You good? And it's not about ever being disrespectful.
Yeah. That's just
It's
who you
just
are.
who I am.
Yeah.
I'm still that way to this day.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's why I am the way that I am.
Yeah, well, and we're trying to curve that a little bit. Because here's the thing, Bree, like, nowadays, the appreciation for these things is not, it's not respected.
Yeah.
So to me, when I tell you people got to earn things, and I mean that in a sense of, don't just give that man everything.
Yeah.
That's something that is acquired, like that is earned. And when I say that, like that's earned. Like you don't serve men plates. You don't cook for men just because you met them and you want to do it and you want to do nice things. Let them cater to you. Let them be nice to you. Let them earn that. Let them treat you like the queen that you are. Let them treat you like the woman you are.
I'm just not used to that.
I understand, but I'm here to try to help you because you're making the same mistakes that I made, and I don't want you to make those mistakes.
Yeah.
I won't say I'm gonna say mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes I made. But it's different now. It's not like how it was back when I was young.
Yeah.
This new day and age is different, and men just aren't very respectful nowadays, and especially if you don't have a godly man.
Yeah.
And like I said, make sure. And then the only thing I can tell you is, make sure that man prays with you.
Yeah.
That you're not leading the prayer.
Yeah.
Like if you go on a date and that man blesses your food, he's a good man.
I'm always the one blessing the food.
So you need to see if a man's gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's how you know where he's at.
Yeah.
This man,
gems.
and it's probably the I've had 2 dates like that, and those were 2 men that I was like, wow, like that. It felt so good for that man to say, "Can we bless the food and grab my hand?"
Yeah, I'm always the one doing that.
Because that never happened with me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we are hitting our time mark. There's so much more that me and my mom could talk about. I think we could sit here for days, really. These type of things is good. I wanted this episode to be healing. I wanted it to be emotional. I wanted it to laugh a little bit. And I think we kind of touched on all 3 of those things. I wanted you to be comfortable, and I feel like you were comfortable.
I'm comfortable. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. You get to see a little bit of how I am, and so that was really exciting for me, too.
And we've been talking about doing it, so I'm so happy that we're able to make it happen.
Yes, and I'm so happy that you were able to be my first episode of Powerful Women. But we will have a part 2, so you guys will have to watch this and tap into the next time. I'm so grateful for the Powder Room. I'm grateful for my sister, PMP, Brittany, for supporting and pushing me, and really to my whole tribe for supporting me and pushing me. Many times where I feel like, many times I feel like maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or maybe for other reasons, even though I know that it's natural for me. But
it's your thing.
I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for God for putting us in a situation where we could do this. So anyways, Mom, you got anything you want to say to the Powder Room?
I'm just thankful that I got this opportunity to be here with you today, and I look forward to the next episode.
Yes. Thank you, Powder Room.
So proud of you.
Thank you, Mom. I love you.
I love you too.
Powder Room, we out.